What's up, guys? It's your girl, Lissa D, with the new Star 94, The Rhythm of Atlanta, and I'm here with author, life coach, love coach, TV personality, female boss extraordinaire. I'm here with Rebecca Lynn Pope. How are you today?
I am wonderful, sweetheart. Thank you so much for having me. I am so happy to be on with you.
Awesome. So happy to have you. You're doing so many things. You have a TV show on the Oprah Winfrey Network, aka OWN, for those of you who don't know the difference. Okay, just throwing that out there. Called Marry Me Now. You guys just wrapped up season one. How are you feeling after season one?
Honestly, it was such an adventure. It has been, just this incredible journey, Alyssa, where it was like meeting the women, doing something that is so unconventional where women are proposing. That in and of itself was almost like a social experiment. And so coming out the other side, it's just been like such a learning process about just kind of all the different variables of relationships, seeing where people are at. There's no cookie cutter answers for people's lives and relationships.
Absolutely. It's such a unique show concept, like you're saying. The woman is proposing to the man. You're getting married in 7 days. I'm actually no stranger to that. I got with my husband. We dated for 25 days and got eloped. And I got like my wedding dress the day before, and he got his tux the day of. And we are late to the our elopement
Oh,
appointment time. So I'm no stranger to a quick marriage. But how did Marry Me Now? How did it take a life form, and where did like the idea come from? What was it that was like, I think there's something here?
right. So this show was actually existed already in another country in a whole different culture. And OWN was like, this would be really interesting to bring this to the States and see how this would fit American women. And so, because I don't think when this came out, I hadn't seen anything like that where women were actually proposing, especially in wedding dresses. And so the concept was very fresh and very different. And when they first approached me about the show, because they were looking for a host who was able to handle lots of different situations. So they needed a life and love coach that would be able to kind of meet the women where they were at. And because some of these relationships, they've been in 7+ years, some of them have been in less than a year, lots of different types of relationships. And they needed somebody to be able to be supportive and encouraging, but at the same time, give some tough love and some real life advice and moments as well. So when they first approached me with the show, it just felt like a fit for who I am. It didn't feel like I was going to have to act. I wasn't going to have to pretend to be anything. I was able to show up and just be myself, which is what really attracted me to the opportunity.
You're in these situations where you're seeing all different types of relationships, like you're saying 7 years, maybe a
Yes.
month, maybe 1 year. What, now that you've had this experience, what are you thinking to yourself is too long in the dating phase without a ring? Because I'm kind of the firm believer in, even after you get married, you should still want to like woo and date your partner and take them out on dates, and still want to impress each other. So what is too long for dating without the ring?
I would say I would give guidelines based on age ranges. I think when you're in your early 20s, what is enough time is quite different than maybe if you're in your early 30s and early 40s. I think that people in their 20s need to give themselves time to get to know people. They're changing and growing and maturing so quickly. Who you are at 20 is not who you are at 27. And I think you have to be willing to kind of give people the grace and also the patience to say, okay, let's get to know each other in this very young season of our lives. Now, somebody 30, 35, I don't think it takes quite as long to be able to know if this is your person. I don't think going any longer than 2 to 3 years is really, I think you're getting off into the danger zone. If you start headed into 2+ years of dating, and especially exclusive dating, like you are in a relationship, you both are committed, monogamous, you're in love with each other, what's the holdup, right? If you are, you want to be married and that's a goal, then I think heading off into that 3 to 5 to 7 year range, you're definitely in the danger zone of saying he's not ready or she's not ready.
You have a new book coming out. Let's talk about that. Where did the idea or inspiration strike you for this new book? What's it called? Let's dive into that a little bit.
I have several book projects that are getting ready to come out, Alyssa. One of them is a divine dating workbook that is centered around intuitive dating. So it's teaching women how to tap into their intuitive gut instinct. If you want to think of it as tapping into that inner knowledge, that divine knowledge of what's right for you, what's not, being patient, peaceful, and balanced in your approach to dating. And actually inviting God into that process as well, Alyssa, into a spiritual alignment and balance perspective to dating. Because a lot of people are out here dating under a lot of pressure, anxiety. They're trying to meet deadlines they've created in their own mind. They're giving the wrong people the opportunities to date them versus vetting and learning who to choose and how to choose the right people for themselves. So that's a book that's coming out this year that I'm really excited about, that will specifically help people to navigate dating in a different way.
I love that. That sounds
Spiritual, divine,
yes, I love that
balance,
because I feel like
peaceful.
people we lose that touch with ourselves and like you're saying because we put these goals or expectations or when I'm 30 I have to be doing this like I
Yes,
have to. So I think
exactly.
that's super awesome.
And also learning how to date for true love, because there's a big difference between dating for fun and kicking it versus dating to say, I want to be married. I'm looking for my life partner. I want to learn how to attract that person, vet for that person, because I'm really serious about wanting to build a life partnership and legacy with someone. That's a totally different type of dating than just dating for fun and kicks and giggles.
So what would you say are just maybe one or two differences between the two, or like if you're trying to transition out of dating for fun into dating for marriage, what would you say are some transitionary steps a person would need to take?
So dating from, like, if it's for male or female, if I'm really honest, Alyssa, who you might date for fun may not have the intrinsic values, the character values like work ethic, honesty, integrity, character, right? That you need, if a man is thinking about wanting to get married and have children, this is going to be the mother of your children. This is going to be the woman who's helping you to manage money, who's helping you to manage investments. I mean, you have to take all of these things into consideration. It's not just about love, right? Oh, I'm in love. Okay, we can catch feelings for people pretty easily, but does that mean that they're a good candidate to build your life with as a good partner? Totally different, strategy and needs, right? Needs, not just wants. I think having fun in dating is a lot about wants and preferences. I think getting married comes down to really about compatibility of goals. It comes down to compatibility of values, faith, outlook, dreams. There's a lot more that comes into choosing a life partner.
You are both a life coach and a love coach, so I kind of want to hear from you what exactly that means because I think a lot of people when they hear especially life coach they're like, yeah, whatever, like, it's whatever. I know how to organize my life or I know how to do this. Like
Right.
life coach, like that's crazy talk. So
Yeah.
what is that so people can understand like what a life coach is and what a love coach is?
So one of the best explanations I give, because I actually train and certify life coaches as well. So I have over 250 certified coaches around the world. And one of the things I explain about life coaching is that if you think about a traditional athletic or sports coach, kind of like imagine the NFL coach, the football coach, right? And all of the different things that he does to keep his players on task and at premium optimum performance. It's really not that much different if you think about an issue in your life where you're not performing the way you really desire to perform and you have a goal. You hire a coach who knows how to help you get to that goal. So in that type of an example, life and love coaching kind of is the same thing. If you have a specific issue in life and you need help from someone who has success in that area and has a blueprint, a plan, an active action plan to help you be able to navigate how to get to that result. You hire them to help you. Same thing with love. If you struggle with a specific issue around love, dating, relationships, marriage, you're hiring a love coach to help you navigate issues around love that you're having struggles, with reaching that specific goal.
What, I know you kind of touched a little bit on it, but what would you say is a piece of advice for kind of love and dating in today's world, with it just being so busy and loud, not just audio loud, visually loud? There's so much stimulation everywhere you look. So what would you say is a piece of advice for finding love and dating more seriously, to kind of hone in and focus on and kind of tune out that sound?
I think that in the world we now live in, hun, it's really hard because there's so many voices and so many opinions. I mean, you could read one article and it tells you to do one thing, and you read the next article or the next guru and it's telling you to do the exact opposite. And how do you filter and decipher through all of this information overload and advice overload to determine what is right for you? Because like I said, there's no cookie cutter answers for people's lives. There's things that will be right for you and things that are not. At the end of the day, when it comes to dating, we have to remember that people are still just human beings. And as much as it begins with all this tech and everything that we're now involved with, it can begin to feel like we start to treat people like numbers. Oh, it's another, it's just another, oh, I'll go on the app and meet someone else. Or I'll just, it feels like you have all these options. It feels like there's just unlimited options and potential you have for potential partners, which is totally not true. That's the technology and the effect that it has on our psychology. At the end of the day, your true options are the people who are interested in you. And that can look quite different than what you're holding in your head as ideals or your list of what you expect to have. And I think it would help if more people were just more realistic, which means that you have to kind of get out off these apps. You have to actually engage with people, get to know people, have conversations, meet people in real life, in real time, real actual physical interaction, eye contact, conversations, and give people an opportunity. Don't be so quick to cut someone off because, oh, they don't meet this requirement or that requirement. You're not perfect and nobody else is perfect either. We have to be willing to show some grace and to actually show some flexibility, because nobody would be married today ever if somebody had to be perfect to be married. So,
Right.
Grace and patience and practice.
What would you say was one of the most difficult situations you were in when you were in season 1 of Marry Me Now? You definitely could see this relationship wasn't going to work out, or advice you had to give to somebody. What was the hardest part for you in that regards?
So the very last episode of the season, Debbie and Mark, there were lots of issues kind of behind the scenes that so much TV time is very fast. So there's so much that can't get included because so much gets filmed, but it's just not enough time. And one of the things that I kept saying to her is that they had not really seriously discussed marriage. They'd only been together like 11 months. They had this very fun relationship. And as much as they were into each other, I didn't feel that there were a lot of mature, really serious conversations and communication around expectations for the future, children, marriage. And I kept saying to her, one of the very last real serious conversations I had with her, I said that I was really concerned that she was just kind of about to throw this on him, throw this monkey wrench at him, and he wasn't prepared for this, that nothing had really led up to this making even a lot of sense, that I really didn't know if this was the right thing for her to be doing at this juncture in this new, very, very new relationship. And she took that in and she listened, and my heart really went out to him because he'd gone through some personal tragedy and loss in just the last year or two with the loss of his mother. One of his best friends had died of an overdose. There's like a lot that had been going on in his life. And sure enough, he said yes on the show, but in the follow-up, he ended up kind of just ghosting her and broke up with her. And, so it was one of those situations where there's, why are you proposing? Why are you doing this right now? It's not really logical for where you're at in your relationship. I would say those were some very difficult conversations with her one-on-one, especially like I say, behind the scenes, the stuff that people didn't get to see actually on screen, and her realizing like, am I really doing the right thing? Like, should I be proposing right now to this person who's really gone through so much personally, and and am I pressuring him in ways that's maybe not really fair? She was the only, I think she was the only sister. She's the youngest sister. She wasn't married yet. I think her sisters were married. She had created some deadlines and goals in her mind. By a certain age, I'm going to be married. I think she felt pressure from her family. She came from a very traditional African family that was very core values around family and marriage and children. And I think she just felt a lot of pressure even, and we had conversations about that. Some of it was very subconscious, Alyssa. It wasn't that it was necessarily at the forefront of her mind, but it was behind the scenes kind of applying pressure that she really hadn't even identified and wasn't aware of.
You've got a couple books coming out, like you said. What else can we expect to see from you in the near future, in the distant future, that we can kind of keep up to date with you? Where can we find you? Things like this.
You can find me everywhere under Rebecca Lynn Pope on every single platform. It's just my name, Rebecca Lynn Pope. I do have a divine dating workshop that's about to release very soon that will go in conjunction with the workbook that's going to be published. So you can actually get into a class, a live class with me, and actually take that workshop together with a group of people in order to learn how to date divinely and in alignment.
Thank you so much for joining me today, Rebecca. It has been a pleasure. It's been fun speaking with you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.